We haven't put the criteria out, but I expect a pledge will be part of it. It was part of 2016. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, right? If you're going to be on the Republican National Committee debate stage asking voters to support you, you should say, I'm going to support the voters and who they choose as the nominee.
Now, this kind of got the Republicans in trouble one time before. Ronna McDaniel expecting a pledge for the party unity ahead of the 2024 election. Some GOP candidates making their appearances at CPAC this year at 2023 this weekend. For more on this, let's welcome in the host of Spicer & Company, Sean Spicer. He's also the author of Parrots Go Bananas, the new children's book. It's fantastic. Sean, welcome aboard.
Hey, good morning, Carl. Good to see you.
So, like the loyalty pledge, like you were at the RNC prior to Trump, okay? So you're very familiar with the inner workings of how this thing goes. I would love to see a unified party, but is a forced loyalty pledge to be a part of a debate really the right move?
Actually, here's the dirty secret. We've had one since 2008. Trump signed it. I was in Trump Tower with him. He signed it. I have a picture of it if you'd like to see it. So this is a stupid, I mean, the dirty secret that the media is perpetuating is that this is new. We've actually had one since 2008. Here's why this is here's why it's happened. So the RNC has spent hundreds of millions of dollars gathering data that they give to every Republican candidate. In exchange for that data being given to them for free, they say, hey, here's the deal. We'll give you all of the data on every Republican donor and voter, but you just have to agree that if you lose the primary, you're not going to run as an independent, run against us, give it to a Democrat, which makes sense, basically, right? We're going to give you $100 million plus of data. You just can't turn around and give it to somebody else or go against our nominee if you win. That's been the case since 2008. No one's ever had a problem. I literally sat in Trump Tower with him in 2006, actually the summer of 2015. I believe the date was August 15th, 2015. We made a bunch of news. He went down the escalator. He held it up in front of the press and said, I've signed the pledge. I look forward to doing this. I just don't think most of the folks in the mainstream media have read their own stories, because he literally held a press conference afterwards and held it up and said, I've signed it. But it's tied to the data more than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, look, it makes sense if you're giving them millions and millions of dollars worth of data to have that loyalty pledge. But, it doesn't bode well, I think, for the general public to not know all that stuff and then, hear this talking point. I'm a free thinker. I think actually that you're probably right about that. If they're getting millions of dollars of data, you should probably have to be on board with that. But I want to get to CPAC, okay? 2023 underway. Ron DeSantis not making an appearance. Do you think he's trying to send a message to voters? Is he widening a chasm? Is he forcing people to choose before he even gets in the race?
Well, look, I think Ron DeSantis made two choices. One, there's this big donor retreat that the Club for Growth held in Palm Beach. So he wanted to spend time with donors in his home state. He's got a book that just came out. That's his choice. I think that's where he chose to be this week versus with the grassroots activists here in the nation's capital. That was a choice that he made. I think he could have done both, and I think that would have been the smarter move. However, people need to understand the other piece of this. DeSantis, if he had come here, would have stoked speculation that he was running. Right now, Florida has a resign to run law that has to be changed by the state legislature. Probably it won't happen until sometime in June, right before the legislature in Tallahassee ends its session. Once that happens, then I think you'll see him take the formal steps to announce the presidency. But until then, he wants to do everything he can to look like he's not running. And here's the thing, Carl. This weekend, President Trump's coming. This afternoon, Newsmax will have it at 4 o'clock. And he's going to do very, very well in this straw poll. If DeSantis had come, I've been there the last couple days at CPAC. Newsmax has had a huge presence. Trump's got a ton of surrogates there. He's going to do very well. There's a lot of activists that are for Trump. And if DeSantis had come and not done well, I think the story would have been DeSantis shows up at CPAC, Trump overwhelms him, and it would have thrown cold water on a potential run. By not being there, he can say, well, gosh, I wasn't even there. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a key point there. But, I mean, you've obviously been covering this very closely. Donald Trump is the mountain right now. He's up by, I think, a new poll from at 55% or something. And obviously, Ron DeSantis hasn't declared yet, but, I mean, he's at like 20% or something like that. It's still a year and a half away, and Sean, you know as well as anybody. One thing you also know about is children's book, your new one, The Parrots Go Bananas. This is hilarious. I love it. Tell us about it.
So it's a book that I did about fake news. We don't use the word fake news. We don't talk about the media, but it's two characters that I have in this book who are upstanding citizens of Mushroom Village. They play a game of basically baseball. They get accused of cheating, right? And then everyone piles on. And what we teach kids in this is, the dangers. I mean, you think of a Nick Sandman, Carl, and you and I have both been through this where you get accused of something, that everybody piles on, and then everyone after, a month later or 2 months later says, oh, gosh, that really wasn't entirely the full story. So I actually had my kids help me with this book, and it teaches of the dangers of not just fake news, but piling on. And those are two things that kids these days, and the book is aimed at 4 to 12-year-olds, have to deal with. It's available at bravebooks.com, and I say that it's available at bravebooks.com because normally, and I've done 3 books, including the last one with Humanics, which is an imprint of Newsmax, that did very well because Amazon is suppressing the book. So if you want to get this book about fake news and learn about it, Amazon, which is tied obviously to the Washington Post, is suppressing the book. So if you type in Sean Spicer, you'll see Radical Nation and my other books. You won't see The Parrots Go Bananas because Amazon is suppressing the book about fake news, which is a bit ironic, if you will. So that's why you have to go to bravebooks.com.
No, I'm glad you're taking this on because the pile-on, the cancel culture, which we're going to be talking about with a Rolling Stones author later, is really becoming an increasingly volatile industry. So, Sean Spicer, best of luck with your new book. Thank you for your insight, sir.
Thanks, Carl.
All right.